Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, Ma'am Anggani
Waalaikumsalam
and my
warahmatullahi
friends.
wabarakatuh.
Welcome to the class of Research in English Language Education. In this occasion, we are going to have a presentation from Group 3, and the topic is Grounded Theory Designs. And the agendas for today's discussion are opening, main agenda, question and answer, session, and closing. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Rizky Cristanto, and I'll be responsible for hosting this presentation today. And I'm glad to welcome Intan Safitri as the first presenter, Rini Maulidawati as the second presenter. The third presenter is Nachalia, and the fourth presenter is me, Rizky Cristanto. Without further ado, I would like to welcome the first presenter, Intan Safitri, to deliver presentation. All right, for Intan Safitri, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mas Rizky, for the chance. And we are going to the next slide, please. So, before we are talking about our material, I would like to present the outlet. First is the definition of Green theory use and how it developed. Second, three types of Green theory design. The third, key characteristic of Green theory research. Fourth, potential ethical issues in Green theory research. Fifth, steps in conducting a Green theory study. And for the last, evaluating a quality of a Green theory study. Next, please. So here we would like to discuss the definition of Green theory, use, and how it developed. Next, please. What is Green theory research? A Green theory design is a systematic qualitative procedure used to generate a theory that explains at a broad conceptual level a process, an actions, or interactions about a substantive topic. It means this theory is a process theory that explains an educational process of events, activities, actions, and interactions that occur over time. Next, please. And here, when should you use Green theory research? We use Green theory when we need a broad theory for our explanation of a process. Granite theory generates a theory when existing theories do not address your problem or the participant that you plan to study. This theory formed from the data or information on a phenomenon. It provides a better explanation than a theory born of the self because it fits the situation actually working practice is sensitive to individual in a setting and may represent all of the complexities actually found in a process. And for the example here, in the study of certain educational populations, the field is in children with attention disorders. Existing theories may have a little applicability to special populations. Next, please. we also use Granot theory in some process. For example, first, NEF 1998, how students develop as writers. Second, Ritchie, Fasinger, Lin, and Johnson 1997, how high achievement African American and Caucasian women carries develops. Next, please. Besides, we also use this theory to explain actions of people. For example, Courtney Ja Bachun, 1994, the process of participating in an adult education class or an interaction among people, such as the support department chairs provide for faculty researchers. Creswell and Brown, 1992. Next, please. For the beginning qualitative research, Grandot theory offers a step-by-step systematic procedure for analyzing data. Because by this procedure, available might be helpful to students when they define qualitative studies before the faculty commits. And Grandot theory has features that contain a self-correction nature. It passes on analyzing one set of data. The researcher options direction from the analysis for the next set of data. Next. Uh, Here it is same with what I have explained before, but there is something different, but it's same. As a systematic process, Grandot theory exhibitions the regard quantitative research like to see in educational study. So Grandot theory we can see more like fully at the educational study. Next, please. And now we talk about how did Grandot theory research develop. There are two psychologists, Glasser and Galitz-Taurus, developed Grandot theory in the late 1960 centuries. It evolved out of their work at the University of California, San Francisco Medical Center with patients who were terminally ill. In studying this patient, Glasser and Taurus recorded and published their method of research. This led to many individuals contacting Glasser and Taurus to learn more about their research methods. In 1967, Glasser and Taurus developed a pioneering book that expounded in detail on their Grandot theory procedures, entitled The Discovery of Grandot Theory. This book laid the foundation for the major ideas of Grandot theory used today, and it became a procedural guide for numerous dissertation and research report. Next, please. 1967, in Discovery, Glasser and Strauss took the position that the current theory in psychology overly stressed verifying and testing theories rather than discovering the concepts, variable, and hypotheses based on actual field data from participants. A theory discovered during the collection will fit the situation being researched and will work when put to use, better than a theory identified before a study began. The ideas and discovery reflected the background of The authors Glaser trained in qualitative research at Columbia University with note researchers who were interested in the inductive development of theory using quantitative and qualitative data. This inductive perspective led him to embrace the importance of generating theory from the perspective of participant in study. And Storus, however, came to gain theory from the University of Chicago. With a strong history and tradition in qualitative research, this background led Storus to emphasize the importance of field research that is going to individual and listening closely to participant ideas. Hmm. In the year following discovery, both Glaser and Stories independently authored several books that refined and explained their early methods. Glaser 1978, 1992, and Stories 1987. Next, please. Next, please. In 1990 and in 1998, Star Wars teamed with a community nursing health research, Juliet Corbin, to take the technique and procedure of gender theory to new levels. They introduced a more perspective from a gender theory with predetermined categories and with concepts about validity and reliability. Glaser, 1992, he edited a book of critical response to set researchers using gender theory on a correct path. Page 3, it provoked by New Qualitative Research, Karmas 2000. Here, Glaser was primarily concerned about how stars use preconceived categories and frameworks that did not allow there to emerge during a process of research. He also took issue with what he saw as an emphasis on a symbol describing act rather than activity, actively conceptualizing patterns or connections in its data that would lead to theory. Next. Next. Next, please.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's all from me, and I will give it back to the moderator.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Intan Safitri, for the explanation. Next, we have Rini Mauridawati. She's going to explain and explain about three types of grounded theory designs. For Rini Mauridawati, turn is yours.
Good morning, Ma'am Angani, and good morning, everyone. Of grounded theory designs. Okay, for the operator, please next. So, we can see that perspective about conducting grounded theory research have different depending on the advocate for a particular approach. There are three dominant design or describable according to Hood in 2007 for the three types of grounded theory design. The first is systematic design, the second is the emerging design, and the third is the constructive design. Next, please. For the first, the systematic design for grounded theory is widely used in educational research, and it is associated with the detailed, rigorous, and procedures. Next, please. Next, please. Systematic design in a grounded theory emphasizes the use of data analysis, steps of open, actual, and selective coding, and the development of a logic paradigm or a visual pictures of the theory generated. Next, please. Okay. In this definition, three phases of coding exist. The first, for part A, open coding. Open coding, the grounded theories firm initial categories of information about the phenomenon being studied by segmenting information. The researcher based the categories on all data collected, such as interviews, observation, and researchers' memos or notes. Typically, researchers identify categories and subcategories, as is seen in the grounded theory study by Knapp in 1995. Next, please. So in here, in the Creswell book, we can see that coding categories in grounded theory. Next, for part B, in the phase is actual coding. In the second phase, the grounded theory select one open coding category, position it at the center of the process being explored as the core phenomenon, and then relates other categories to it. Next, please. This phase involves drawing a diagram, a diagram. It's called a paradigm, tries the relationship of the causal condition, strategies, and contextual and intervening condition and consequences. Next, the third phase in selective coding. The grounded theorist writes a theory from the interrelationship of the categories in the actual coding model. Next. Okay, we can continue the second types of the grounded theory. This is the emerging design. The more flexible, less prescribed theory and as consists of several major ideas. The first point is grounded theory exists at the most abstract conceptual level rather than the least abstract level as found in visual data presentation such as a coding paradigm. And the second is a theory is grounded in the data and it is not forged into the categories. The third point is a good grounded theory must meet four central criteria: fit, work, relevance, and modifying ability. Next, please. Okay, for the last types of the grounded theory, it is the constructivist design. When to explain a basic social process. This explanation includes the constant comparative coding procedures of comparing incident to incident, incidents to category, and category to category, The focus was on connecting categories and emerging theory, not on simply describing categories. Next, please. So, for the focus on the meanings ascribed study, in applying this approach, grounded theories explains the feelings of individuals as they experience a phenomenon or a process. Next, and when you choosing among the design, we can see that as you consider conducting a grounded theory study, you need to weigh how strongly you want to emphasize procedures, use predetermined categories in analysis, and then position yourself as a researcher and decide how to end the study, whether it is with tentative questions or hypotheses that are specific. Next, please. Okay, in selecting one of the three approaches, consider that the procedures advanced by Strauss and Corbin in 1998 Strauss in 2008 might lead to a commitment to a set of analytic categories according to Routledge in 1995 and a lack of conceptual depth according to Baker. Also, in all types, grounded theory has a distinct language that some educators might view as jargon and in need of careful definition. For example, constant, comparative, open coding, and actual coding. So, I think is that's all my explanation about the types of the grounded theory, and I will come back to moderator Mas Rizky. Thank you.
Thank you, Winnie, for the explanation. It was so informative. And next we have Natalia. She's going to read and explain the third outline for our discussion. For Natalia, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mas Rizky, for the chance. Good morning, ma'am, and good morning, my friends. Here I will explain about key characteristic of grounded theory research. Characteristics that grounded theory researchers use in their design are first, process approach, the second one, theoretical sampling, the third, constant comparative data analysis, fourth, a core category, fifth, theory generation, and the last one, memos. For the first one, a process approach, a process in grounded theory research is a sequence of action and interaction among people and events pertaining to a topic according to Corbin and Strauss, 2008. Categories in grounded theory designs are terms of basic information identified in the data by the researchers and used to understand a process. In grounded theory research, a frequently used term is in people codes. In people codes are labels for categories that are pairs in the exact word of participants rather than in the words of the researcher or in social science or educational terms. A researchers begin with a research problem such as the need to examine how academic chairperson balance their work and personal lives at the central phenomenon then becomes a balance of work and personal life. To study this central phenomenon, the ground theories frames it is a process such as the process by which chairs balance their work and personal lives. Alternative, the process of imbalance might be explored. Here you can see a process and categories within the flow of research in grounded theory. The second one, a theoretical sampling. Theoretical sampling in grounded theory means that the researcher chooses forms of data collection that will yield text and image useful in generating a theory. This means that the sampling is intentional and focused on the generation of a theory and emerging design in grounded theory research is the process in which the researcher collects data, analyzes it immediately rather than waiting until all data are collected, and then bases the decision about what data to collect next on this analysis. Saturation in grounded theory research is a state in which the researcher makes the subjective determination that new data will not provide any new information or insights for the developing categories. Here you can see the image of zigzags helps us to understand this procedure as shown in figure 13.5 as illustrated in this figure. The grounded theories engines in initial data collection. The first collection or interview data analyze it for preliminary categories and then looks for clues about what additional data to collect. Constant comparative data analysis. In the ground theory research, the inquiry engines in a process of gathering data, sorting it into categories, collecting additional information, and comparing the new information with emerging categories. This process of slowly developing categories of information is the constant comparative procedure. Constant comparison is an inductive data analysis procedure in grounded theory research of generating and connecting categories by comparing incidents in the data to other incidents, incident to categories, and categories to other categories. The overall intent is to ground the categories in the data. As shown in figure 30.6, raw data are formed into indicators. According to Glatzer, 1978, small segments of information that come from different people, different sources, or the same people over time. These indicators are in turn grouped into several codes, like codes A, code B, codes G, and then form into more abstract categories like category 1 and category 2. Throughout this process, the researcher is constantly comparing indicators to indicators, codes to codes, and categories to categories. The grounded theories compares the emerging scheme with the raw data to ground the categories in the information collected during the study. Okay, here constant comparison procedure in grounded theory. There are, you can see category 1 and category 2, and also code A, code B, and code C. A core category. The researchers select a core category as the basis for writing the theory. The researchers make this selection based on several factors, such as its relationship to other categories, its frequency of occurrence, its quick and easy saturation, and its clear implication for development of theory, according to Glatzer, 1978. It is a category that can process out, in other words, be the center or main theme of the process. Here, detailed criteria that Strauss and Corbin in 1998 identify for choosing a central category. The first one, it must be central, that is, all other major categories can relate to it. The second one, it must appear frequently in the data. This means that within all or almost all cases, here are indicators pointing to that concept. The third one, the explanation that evolves by relating the categories is logical and consistent. There is no forcing of data. The next, the name of words used to describe the central category should be sufficiently abstract. As the concept is refined, the theory grows in depth and explanatory power. And the last one, when conditions vary, the explanation still holds, although the way in which a phenomenon is expressed may look somewhat different. Theory in grounded theory Theory in grounded theory research is an abstract explanation or understanding of a process about a substantive topic grounded in the data. Because the theory is close to data, it doesn't have wide applicability or scope, such as grain theories about human motivation that apply to many people and situations. According to Brown, in 1993, study also illustrate a visual model and the use of theoretical proposition for conveying a theory. Theoretical proposition in grounded theory research are statements indicating the relationship among categories, such as in systematic approach to axial coding that includes causal condition, the core category or phenomenon, the context, intervening condition, strategies, and consequence. And the last one is memos. Throughout the grounded theory procedure, grounded theories create memos about the data. Memo writing is a tool in grounded theory research that provides researchers with an ongoing dialogue with themselves about the emerging theory, according to Charles Mess in 1990. Memos are notes the researcher writes throughout the researcher process to elaborate on ideas about the data and the code categories. In memos, the researcher explores hunch ideas and truth and then takes them apart, always searching for the broader explanation at work in the process. Memos help direct the inquiry toward new searches of data, shape which ideas to develop further, and prevent paralysis from maintenance of data. I think uh, just that my explanation. I give back to moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Nacha, for the explanation. Now, it's my turn to continue this presentation. Now, in outline number 4, we have potential ethical issues in grounded theory research. Next, potential ethical issues in grounded theory research. One way to view grounded theory is that it is an approach or set of approaches to the analysis of data. Consequently, the writings on grounded theory are largely silent on ethical issues in the conduct of research. For example, privacy, consent, confidentiality, deceit, deception, and harm from Olson in 2007. Next. In the outline number 5, we have steps in conducting a grounded theory study. Because a grounded theory design is a systematic, so now we have some steps it must be followed for researcher. And basically we have 8 steps. The first step is decide a grounded theory design. This addresses the research problem, a grounded theory design is appropriate when you want to develop or modify a theory, explain a process, and develop a general abstraction of the interaction and action of people. As such, it offers a macro picture of educational situations rather than a detailed micro analysis. Because of the generation of an abstract process, it seems suitable for sensitive topics such as the coping process of women who have been sexually abused, from Morrow and Smith in 1995. Next. In step number 2, we have identify a process to study. Because the intent of grounded theory research is to explain a process, you need to identify early a tentative process to examine in your grounded theory study. This process may change and emerge during your project, but you need to have an idea of the process at this step. This process should naturally follow from the research problem and questions that you seek to answer. Next, in this step number 3, we have seek approval and access. As with all research studies, you need to obtain approval from the institutional review board. You also need access to individuals who can provide insight into the process that you plan to study. Like other studies, this step involves seeking approval to collect data, apprising individuals of the purpose of your study, and guaranteeing, guaranteeing a protection of the site and participants as you conduct the inquiry. Next, after decide if a grounded theory design as the best addresses the research problem, and then identify a process to study and seek approval and access. And in the step number 4, we have conduct theoretical sampling. The key concept in grounded theory data collection is to gather information that can assist in your development of a theory. For example, individuals who have experienced the process you are studying. Grounded theories use many forms of data, but many researchers rely on interviews to best capture the experiences of individuals in their own words. Next, please. Code data. The process of coding data occurs during data collection so that you can determine what data to collect next. It typically begins with the identification of open coding categories and using the constant comparative approach for saturation by comparing data with incident and incident with category. Next. In step number 6, we have use selective coding and develop the theory. The final process of coding is selective coding, and it involves actually developing your theory. This procedure includes interrelating the categories in the coding paradigm. It may involve defining the axial coding paradigm and presenting it as a model or theory of the process. Next. In step number 7, we have validate your theory. It is important to determine if your theoretical explanation makes sense to participants and is an accurate rendering of events and their sequence in the process. In grounded theory research, validation is an active part of the process of research from Creswell in 2007. Next, in the last step, we have write a grounded theory research report. Normally, in conducting research, write the report is very important. The structure of your grounded theory report will vary from a flexible structure in the emerging and constructivist design to a more quantitatively oriented structure in the systematic design compared with other qualitative designs such as ethnography and narrative research. The structures of grounded theory studies are scientific and include a problem, methods, discussion, and results. Next. And the last outline for today is evaluating the quality of a grounded theory study. Next. Evaluating the quality of a grounded theory study makes explicit the process of or action at the heart of the study. The first one is that develops or generates a theory at the end of the study that is grounded in the view of the participants. Second, make certain that a link exists between the data, the generation of categories, and the ultimate theory. Provides evidence of using memoing and sampling that enables the generation of the theory, and presents a visual model of the theory. And the last one is provides evidence of the use of one of the types of grounded theory designs, such as the systematic, emerging, or constructivist approaches. Next. Okay, for the conclusion, I'm gonna let Rini to read it. Okay, Rini, go for it.
Okay, thank you, Mas Rizky. Now I want to explain about the conclusion our topic. Grounded theory design is a systematic qualitative procedure used to generate a broad conceptual level, a process and action, or an interaction about a substantive topic. And then the second one is three types of grounded theory design. The first is the systematic design. The second is the emerging design. The third is the constructivism design. For the characteristics that grounded theory researchers use in their design are process approach, 2. Theoretical sampling, 3. In constant comparative data analysis, 4. A core category, 5. Theory generation, 6. Memos. Next, please. Okay, for the find potential ethical issues in grounded theory research, one way to view grounded theory is that it is an approach or set of the process to the analysis of data. Consequently, the writing on the grounded theory are largely silent on ethical issues in the conduct of research. For example, privacy, consent, confidentiality, deceit, deception, and harm, according to Paulson in 2007. Then is conducting a grounded theory study. The steps 1 is decide about theory design best addresses the research problem. The step 2 is identify a asset for conducted. Steps 5, step 6, use select theory. Step 7, and steps write a grounded theory research. Next, please. This is that reference our member that Crashwell in educational research planning, conducting an evaluative and MA version. So that's all conclusion our member. I will to come back in moderator.
I do appreciate Rini Molidawati for reading the conclusion. Now we are going to have question and answer section. So for you who have a desire to ask us a question, please tell us. Finally, we come to an end part of our presentation. We would like to thank to all of you for joining our discussion today. Hopefully, the presentation will be beneficial for all of us. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.